How sweet to be an idiot.
Like, I want to go back to that. Let's make people uncomfortable.
Bro, the Boondocks is the greatest show that nobody puts in their top 3 for whatever reason. The first 3 seasons of the Boondocks are some of the best television. I don't give a fuck if it's animated or not. And he pushed the envelope. Like last night, I was looking for Boondocks on Netflix, but it's not on there anymore. So I could let my daughter watch the Martin Luther King episode. Honestly, like how would King react if he was alive right now? Because it's just that good.
So, question: is it able to push the envelope that much because not that many eyes are on it?
I think it was because it was a cartoon.
Well, I think cartoon definitely has to play with it. But if it's the marquee cartoon that everybody's talking about, and then they start pushing shit, now you get Twitter complaining. Now you get Instagram complaining. Now you get the blogs talking about it. But if nobody's talking about it, there is a freedom.
Boondocks is a little before Twitter, and it started with mad hype.
Yeah,
because it came from a comic book. That was actually,
I remember. I would look at the strip. It was the strip, right? It was a comic strip.
Yeah. The cartoon of it helped it, and I think it also contained it because just from a production standpoint, when you're dealing with, first of all, anything with kids, real life kids, you got to season before they look different. And then you have to tell different stories.
That's true.
Versus if it's a cartoon, your actors are stationary and you can continue to tell the same stories. The flip side to that is that they're not growing. So even if the point of view changes, the show will start to feel a little bit of stasis because the actors themselves don't change. They look the exact same. One of the greatest things to do is to pick a series you love and go back and watch the pilot and watch it all the way through, and you see how the show changes with the world and the time and how the actors dress different and fashion changes and music changes. Well, a cartoon, The Simpsons has been the same since the beginning. And so when you sign up if you're still watching The Simpsons, you are eating the same meal on purpose. You know what you're going to get. The only difference are the jokes. So I think that it helped it, but it also sort of contained it.
Yeah, because I want Bart to get some pussy. I mean,
but Bart's in 4th grade.
That's what I'm saying. Like, let Bart grow up to get some pussy. Like, I like when they show Bart as an adult and he got a family now. Like, I feel like he deserves that.
Yeah, but that, you know what it is?
You can't tell me they wouldn't have loved Bart by high school. Bad boy, you know what I'm saying? Skateboard, graffiti. You know what I'm saying? He'd had a rap career by high school. You can't tell me they wouldn't have loved Bart in high school,
it's true.
Bart would have had the hoes. I didn't mean to say hoes. I'm trying.
But maybe there is a funny flash forward episode with The Simpsons.
They did one.
Oh, they did one. Okay. I mean, they've done everything, The Simpsons. I feel like, I don't know. It is interesting to look at cartoon. We always talk about Brilliant Idiots doing a cartoon with it because
do it.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do it eventually. I don't know when we're going to do it. But it's one of those things where I think Charlamagne pointed this out really well. Is like we have quite edgy content, right? And it's one of those things when you see it acted out as people, all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, is that really happening?
Yeah.
But there's something about having 4 fingers and being a cartoon that makes it not as sexist, not as homophobic, not as racist, not as anything, right? There's something that makes it a cartoon, literally cartoonish.
If Peter Griffin says something offensive, you gonna take that up with Peter Griffin?
Yes, I'm protesting Peter Griffin.
Who are you protesting?
Right,
Where you put a hold the signs outside
his
of Cartoon
voice
Network?
Looks like
And you wrote, This Is Us, you wrote on The Breaks.
Yeah, which you were on. Thank
I did
you.
an episode of The Breaks. James Davis show.
Yeah, Comedy Central. Adjacent.
I feel like I'm missing one.
Kidding, which I'm on now.
Kidding with
it's Jim Carrey's new show.
Have you
Jim
met
Carrey
Jim
got
yet?
a new show?
I have.
Yeah.
He came into the writer's room.
You think Jim's gonna kill himself?
No.
Jim is.
I wouldn't be surprised if he killed himself.
No, I hate.
I say that hoping to God he does not.
Why do you think he's gonna kill himself?
I think that he's.
This
I'm getting
is mad
snippets.
awkward, by the way, just to let you know. But,
I'm just saying, like, I've just been seeing snippets of these things, and he seems to be at a place in his life where he's trying to justify his unhappiness, and he's searching for happiness, and he can't find it. And then he's doing this thing that I've seen a lot of people do, which is, if I can't be happy, what I'll do is I'll take away the meaning of life. There is no meaning of life. If I can't be happy, well, then life is unimportant. We're just a collection of molecules and nothing happens and then we die, etc. And once you stop adding even a fake meaning to life, life becomes less valuable. And it's just a tragic kind of situation.
That's why I love perspective.
So,
I think Jim is the smartest motherfucker moving, and I think I hate the word woke. I can't stand it because some of you woke motherfuckers is too
Need to
tired.
go to
Y'all need
sleep.
to sleep, exactly. But I feel like he's aware of what's really going on in the world, and I think it's driving him crazy. Not driving him crazy like psychologically, but just the fact that y'all don't see what I see. I think he's
Didn't
very
his
in tune.
girl commit suicide or some shit like that?
Uh,
And blame him?
all the headlines are the headlines. You can Google that.
Yeah,
I will say this. Jim came into our writer's room and was there for the day and bled on the table for us. And it was really fascinating. What I've learned about life is that it is all about perspective. Perspective is the only superpower. And from what looks like a tornado from the outside is still in the middle. And I think Jim is going through a period of transformation, and one person's breakdown is another person's breakthrough. And I think we're seeing it happen in real time. And I think he's sharing what he's learning.
Yeah.
And it's great for us because we get to use that because he's bleeding openly for us. So I think to what you were saying, though, about taking away the meaning of life, I think that to learn something new, you do have to let go of the old. You have to, you do have to take that away.
Shed the skin.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so just because someone is somewhere else on that journey doesn't make them wrong. That doesn't mean that they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and that doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that they're somewhere else.
But isn't that the world we live in, though?
Yeah.
Soon, I saw it with Chappelle, too.
Yep.
When they were going through their transformation period, like, oh, he's
Absolutely.
crazy.
Absolutely. The
Yeah,
first thing,
that's
when
a way
someone
of
doesn't
dismissing
understand what
somebody.
you're doing, the first thing they do is say you're crazy.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying he's crazy, though. I think he's like completely cognizant of aware of what's going on. I just think that he's been very vocal about battling depression and dealing with these types of issues. And as a comedian, I understand where this is coming from, right? Like you have a void and you want to fill it, and he's filled it his whole life. And maybe now he sees his career, going in a different direction, and he's not on stage filling that void, and he's.
He paints a lot, though. I thought
he's
about
an
that.
artist.
It's funny because I literally having a conversation about Jim Carrey last week
Yeah.
with Arian Foster because he loves Jim Carrey, and I was like, yo. I see these streams of consciousness come from Jim from time to time, but I'm like, what he needs an outlet? Like what art is he putting
Kidding.
out?
Showtime.
That's what it is. And then he put me on the Jim paintings.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I guess my point is like you have to find someone to fill that void, and we even saw it with like the Linkin Park guy. You know what I mean? The guy
Chester Bennington?
Yeah, Chester. It's like
Yeah.
I think what happens with these guys is their whole life they go, when I'm famous, I'm going to finally feel happy. When I'm successful, I'm going to feel happy. And then they get famous and successful. You see it happen with Kevin Durant right now. Is like my whole life, when I win a championship, everything's going to be fine, and I'm going to feel that bliss I've always wanted.
Yeah, but you didn't expect the bald spot.
And then-
if Kev didn't have, I'm telling you, Kev didn't
So-
expect the bald spot. He'd
so-
have everything he wanted.
I know.
If that fucking bald spot.
I know
didn't
his head looks like a crunch bar. So what happened is he goes
Yikes.
and then he goes to he wins a championship, and all of a sudden he has those same feelings. That must be fucking frightening. Same thing with Chester. He becomes one of the biggest musicians in the world, and all of a sudden I'm still feeling these same feelings of sadness and depression. And I think maybe Jim has realized that, and he's going a different route. He's like, okay, how can I tackle this? How do I understand why we have these feelings?
Bless
Why
you.
I feel helpless? Why our brains work this way? And I hope to God that he figures it out and finds a way to cope.
By the
with
way,
it.
we're all assuming here. We don't know if he's unhappy. We don't know if he feels helpless.
That's what we do on this show. We assume. You know what I mean?
I'm not assuming.
Listen, say again.
I'm not assuming.
You know of a personal relationship. I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No, I think
I can't speak on it like you can.
I think I don't. You know what?
Now, hold on. I don't need you keeping it too real now.
Yo, this is no.
We need you on
We're-
this show
we're
right
having-
now. I don't need you keeping.
Listen, we're having a This
I
Is
see the
Us
clock
moment
here. I
right
see
here.
the clock moving. You don't have to keep it real.
She's about to put it all on the line. She's about to put it all on
It's
the line.
not worth it, Jazz.
Yo,
all right?
Charlamagne just stop the hot takes. Yo, you getting soft, bro.
Yes, I am.
You getting
I'm-
fucking
Hey,
soft.
man. Yes, I am.
See?
It's no
Damn,
need
yo.
to do. It's no
I
need
see
to do
how it
that.
is.
No.
If it was a white rapper, you would have let
No,
him say that
it's,
shit
Yes, I
immediately.
would. Let it fly, bro.
Let him say that shit immedially. Go for it, dog.
You'll be
Talk
fine.
about it.
You'll be fine.